Hello, welcome back. This is Disha Shah and I create videos on how to make, save and invest money. This video is actually a part 2 though of a home birth series I'm doing with my sister. In part 1 we spoke about how to prepare for before a child comes, whether it is setting boundaries, having conversations, exploring different birthing options. In part 2 we are going to discuss what happens once the baby arrives, how to prepare for postpartum, what is postpartum, breastfeeding, and a lot more. So let's get into the video.
It's like, imagine someone taking a clothespin and just like
Oh my
pulling.
god, that was visual. Oh my god.
Postpartum, you can cry if someone shuts the door too hard. When my baby was being born, he had the cord wrapped around his head. I actually want to get a T-shirt. Like, there's a company that sells it that says "Mind your own tits,"
Yeah.
and it's like true. It's like mind your own tits. It's none of your business.
How to prep for before and after the baby has arrived in terms of with your partner, like your family, and a lot of important questions and answers I'm assuming will have to be like asked and answered just so that you're more prepared.
Yeah.
How do you go about doing that?
I think a lot of people prepare for postpartum like what the baby needs, especially if it's your first baby. I'm talking about this is your first baby.
Yeah.
You're like, we need to get a crib, we need to get swaddles, we need to get bottles, we need to get pacifiers, we need to get this, we need to get that. And you want to be so prepared for the baby, right?
Yeah.
But I think the bigger thing is how are you going to prepare with this new family dynamic?
Yeah.
Who is going to do the things that you were doing as a woman in the family if you were like buying groceries? Who's going to buy the groceries? Who's going to check for the groceries? It's something so small, but if you have a plan, definitely preparing for those kind of things, how are we going to deal with sleep deprivation? That is a big one. Like, how will we deal with snapping at each other? Because we will be sleep deprived. Who is going to wake up at night when the baby wakes up? Who's going to change diapers? Who's going to buy the diapers once they're over? Who's going, and every single thing. Like, it's talking about tasks. How are we going to communicate when one person is feeling like the other is not listening or feeling isolated? I felt that a lot when it was immediate postpartum. I was feeling alone a lot and I was breastfeeding, so it would be hours just sitting with the baby breastfeeding, and everyone else is just, you feel like, oh, everyone's just leading their lives and I'm just sitting here with the baby, and you feel so disconnected. How do you communicate that to your partner, and how are they going to be there for you?
Yeah.
Those kind of things, it's very important to discuss and have expectations, having an understanding of expectations.
Yeah. I feel like when you communicate those things before, there are at least less thinking to do when it's happening because you have some answers that you can immediately reach out to. Yeah.
And I think another crazy part about being a first time mother is after you give birth, you don't even know what you need. So you need so many things, and you're just there and you look at your partner and you cannot verbalize that I need this from you because you don't know. And that's big, but you need to tell them that I'm feeling like lost. I just need you to be there with me. Even just saying that, and they shouldn't like take it as like, oh, I'm doing so much for you but you still feel this way. No, you have to tell them that, listen, expect me to be very emotional. Postpartum, you can cry if someone shuts the door too hard. Like, you'll just be like in tears for anything, because your hormones have been at a high and they just drop when you give birth. So you are very vulnerable. Even if the person says a word too loud, you can cry. So your partner has to be very gentle, extra gentle. Like, you are a new mother. Like how a newborn is like gently held.
Yeah.
People have to hold a new mother that way. I don't think a lot of women realize that there's a big wound inside our uterus after giving birth from where the placenta detaches. That's why you bleed for like 3 to 6 weeks postpartum.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I know. It's not a lot of people know that, because that
3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, 3 to 6 weeks. 3 weeks minimum. Sometimes it can be 6 weeks. And that is why they say not to have intercourse for 6 weeks, because you have a wound. And if you do, you can get an infection at that wound, and you will have to have like major surgery, like hysterectomy or something. A lot of people don't follow that, and they think that, oh, I feel fine after 3 weeks, and like, let's do it. But you really shouldn't, because there's a wound healing inside you, and you don't see it, so you feel like, I feel fine after 4 weeks. Let me just do the dishes or sweep the whole house. You don't have to do that. You really need to heal first. So yeah, and it's hard because when we ask our mothers, they don't remember, because pregnancy, birth, and postpartum, you have like an amnesiatic effect. There's a hormone release which makes you forget over time what you went through, because it's pretty traumatic. Pregnancy, birth, and postpartum is like pretty traumatic
For your
in
body,
many ways. Yeah, for your body and what you're going through. And naturally, you don't want to remember that, because you're gonna have another baby if you remember every detail of your pregnancy. Like, there were times where I was just not happy when I was pregnant. I was like, there is something called pregnancy depression. I didn't know that. Like, you can be depressed when you're pregnant because you're just not having a good time, but you're not going to remember it because of that hormone that's released. So when we ask our mothers, Ma, how was it when you gave birth? Like, did you have this? How long did you bleed for after giving birth? They're like, oh, I don't remember, because your brain makes you forget. So it's important to do research then and there and read, and not just ask.
Yeah.
You know.
And I also feel like when you take so much care of your own self during that whole process, and your partner is supportive, or whoever is around you to support you, I feel like you're such a happy mother. And so you have a happy baby, and then you have a happy relationship. Like, when I see my nephew with my sister, I just know that they've both taken good care of themselves. And obviously, like, he's been taken care of, but you can see that there is no like guilt, there is no resentment, there is no anger. There is true like appreciation for each other. And that only comes when you take care of yourself.
I think when my baby was being born, he had the cord wrapped around his head. So as soon as the head comes out, they put their finger in to check if the cord is there. And she said, if he has the cord wrapped around, you need to push. So I had to push immediately. I didn't have a lot of time. So as soon as he came out, they unwrapped it. That's another thing actually that people don't know, that it's super duper common for the cord to be wrapped around the head, and it is not a reason to have a C-section.
I was just thinking, oh my god, that sounds like a complication.
No, it's not. It's actually, I think 40% of babies have the cord wrapped around the neck. And I saw a video, I think once, that a baby had the cord wrapped 5 circles around. And after he was born, they were like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he was fine. It was okay. Just natural, not a C-section.
How did you decide breastfeeding or formula feeding? What's the journey like? Does it feel extremely natural or like weird? What is it like? What is breastfeeding like? Because she does breastfeed.
Yeah. I knew that I wanted to breastfeed before, because I knew the benefits of breastfeeding. And then I did a little course called Breastfeeding 101.
This is what I really like. Like, I feel like you took this seriously and you explored all options. Like, I always relate to this with like obviously college and work stuff, because that's the only experience I've had. But when I don't understand a subject, you do an online course. Or if you want to learn a particular skill set, you go to the class and you learn it. You don't assume people will tell you and like you'll figure it out. Like, you actively take steps to prepare for it. And that I've not heard too many moms do like courses, at least in India. It's a very like naturally it'll happen. But
that is a huge misconception. I think that breastfeeding is natural, so it'll come naturally. It is natural, but it always doesn't come naturally. It feels very strange and very alien, and you feel like, whoa, what is this? And initially, it can be painful. It doesn't always have to be painful, and it's not supposed to be painful, but it can, because it's a new skill that your baby is learning, and that your body is experiencing. So it can be painful. I did the course. I prepared myself about everything, right? But believe it or not, on the third day, I was in tears. And I was like, I need to see a lactation consultant. I don't know what's going on. It is unbearably painful, right?
Oh.
And I knew it's not supposed to be unbearably painful. So I was like, something is wrong. So luckily I had contacts ready for lactation consultants. That is one thing I would say. Always have a lactation consultant contact ready to call in case you need one. So I called her and she came home and she was at home for like 4 hours
Wow.
with me and the baby, just teaching me different positions and how to relax. Like when I was breastfeeding, my shoulders would be like this, tense, and I would have stiffness in my neck and my arms would ache. And I would definitely also say that do push-ups before you have the baby because your arms are going to hurt. I know it sounds crazy, but do push-ups, right? And she just came and she taught me so many amazing things. And one thing, like I'll tell you, as simple as how to unlatch the baby. So it's called latching. Like the baby has to latch onto your breast to be able to draw milk and feed. But sometimes they can fall asleep and just be latched on, which then is like, great, I'm just here with the baby sleeping, latched on. And there's a way to unlatch them. You just put your little finger into their mouth and you just like open it and it unlatches. But my mom, when I told her that, she was like, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What she would just like pull the baby away, and that is painful, extremely painful. It's like imagine someone taking a clothespin and just like
Oh my
pulling.
god, that was visual. Oh my god.
I mean, and I was like, she just said that no one taught us these things. When it was painful, they would just give you numbing cream. Can you imagine putting numbing cream so your baby can breastfeed? No. There are other things that you can do. You have to check if your baby has tongue ties, lip ties, which is why it's painful, what is going on. It's beautiful, but it is hard. It is sometimes lonely because you feel like you're the only person here sitting for hours with your baby breastfeeding. But it's not true. And actually, there's a hashtag like not alone for breastfeeding because there are mothers all over the world sitting and breastfeeding their baby by themselves. And we're all connected, and you have to feel that connection. Also, with a lot of people having judgments, like they'll be like, are you breastfeeding your baby? I hope you're breastfeeding your baby. I hope you're not formula feeding. You're not formula feeding, right? And you go to the pediatrician and they're like, baby's on breast milk, right? And you're like, yeah, I'm breastfeeding my baby. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Like you feel like, yes, you're doing the right thing. And then as the baby gets older, oh, you're still breastfeeding? Hi. So in the beginning, it's like breastfeeding. And then it's like, why are you still breastfeeding? It's not that easy, first of all, to wean a baby off just like that. It's something that they've had, it's their comfort. It's unending the amount of things people will tell you about breastfeeding. My only thing for this is breastfeeding is between the mother and the baby, not even the partner. If you want to breastfeed for 3 months and stop, it's between them. You want to breastfeed for 1 year and stop, it's between them. You want to breastfeed for 3 years and stop, it's between them. You can breastfeed your baby as long as you want.
Yeah.
And when people say, oh, but they're like talking, they can ask for milk, and is that real? And it's like, what is your problem? My baby is asking me for milk. Like, it's
My breast, my baby, my milk.
yeah. And I actually want to get a T-shirt. Like, there's a company that says "Mind your own tits."
Yeah.
And it's like true. It's like mind your own tits. It's none of your business. You are not breastfeeding the baby, right? Just chill, calm your tits.
Yeah. It's true, and I do refuse to believe that there is only one way of raising a child. And I actually think the more freedom you give the parents, the more best practices will evolve instead of just picking the one that you're conditioned to believe is the right one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What works for another family may not work for you. So everyone's journey is different, and I think getting advice is fine. It's good. I appreciate advice. I'll be like, okay, that's different. I want to try that. But you don't have to feel like you have to do something or you're doing something wrong. And I thought there's something wrong with my baby because he contact napped. And the fact was that is very common for a baby to feel like he is on somebody, on a human, because they're just in this world and They don't know what's going on. It's so natural. And then I was like, oh my god, it's totally common and natural
Yeah.
for a baby to contact nap. So it's very important to like learn how to take things that people say and not freak out about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also feel like now that I've met baby Kai, like babies have personalities from when they're born. And if you see the baby now, which you cannot, but if you had the experience of seeing him, he's so affectionate
Yeah.
with everyone and likes showing love through contact. And if you think about it, maybe contact napping was his early signs of saying, I'm actually comfortable with
That was
hugging.
his love language.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
Yeah. Love
And
languages in children and babies is a huge thing. People don't understand that how we have love languages, even they do. Like if a child holds on to toys and stuff, like gift giving is their love language.
yeah,
Or if a child needs you to pay attention to them and talk to them, then quality time is their love language.
yeah,
And they show it in different ways. You know, sometimes a child will be like, "Can you put the shoe on for me?" And you know they can put the shoe on. Acts of service is their love language, and you'd be like, "No, you can put it on yourself," but they just want you to do it for them and do
Yeah.
it. That is their love language. They
Yeah.
want you to want to feel loved
yeah.
when you put on that shoe for them, and understanding that and not just dismissing it, saying that you know how to put your shoe on. Why are you asking me? Right?
Yeah.
Like I can cut a fruit and eat it myself, but if I want to feel loved by my partner, I'm like, can you cut me that fruit? And he will because he knows that's my love language, acts of services.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a huge thing, and I think definitely I've never thought about that. I think like physical affection is his love language for sure.
Yeah, he'd so cutely run up to you and like hug you.
Yeah, and just go away.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
And like that, it's
Yeah.
so adorable.
Yeah, and he's only one. So
He's only
it's
one.
very cute.
Yeah.
Very cute. A lot of women, I think, actually, I know someone who is like, I do not want to have a baby because I'm so afraid of giving birth. I
that
think
also,
a
yeah,
lot
I've
of
heard a lot of
young
that.
women probably think that way.
Yeah.
And when I hear that, my heart breaks because women are so strong and powerful. And when you give birth, you tap into that power, like that feminine, raw feminine energy, and it is amazing. But we are made to get scared and be fearful of birth because in movies we see a woman like screaming and crying and cursing the husband for getting her pregnant. And these are the images that we have of birth.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like we getting wheeled into the hospital room and
Yeah.
so dramatic, and the doctor's like, hand me this and hand me that. It's not at all that dramatic. In fact, it's very slow, it's very gradual. There's a lot of sitting around and you're having contractions, and then finally you're like pushing and the baby's out. It's beautiful. It is none of that drama that they show on camera for sure in movies and shows. It is not that. And a lot of them are like, oh, that looks scary. I don't wanna have a baby.
Yeah.
Please do not make that decision of not having a baby because of the fear of giving birth. Do your research. Watch the right kind of documentaries where, and actually, I did not say this anywhere, but watch videos of babies being born, real videos, real women giving birth, like raw. And that is also crazy because in shows they show people watching a video of real birth and like,
Yeah.
no. You know how many times I've cried watching a birth video? Every single time. Every single time I watch a birth video of a baby being born, a real woman giving birth, like really, not in a movie, it is so moving and so beautiful. And there are Instagram pages that show this. It's not banned, even though it's like nudity, but it's educational, so it's not banned. There are so many pages dedicated to showing these videos. Watch them. I watch so many. So many. I still do.
That's actually very interesting. Close because I think I have an idea for our next video. But that's it for this video. I think we covered a bunch of questions that I personally know that I would have asked her anyway, and I thought it would be a lot of like good information for everyone out there who's watching because I have a lot of women audience. So if you found this video interesting, if you have more questions, if you want to start discussions around it, then please do so in the comments down below. Hit the like button, subscribe to this growing community. So that's about it. Do you want to say something before we close the video?
I hope I haven't scared anyone. I mean, I want to do the exact opposite, and I hope everyone finds some any kind of source of inspiration that women have all the power. Take
Yeah.
it back. Take
Yeah.
it back, and just keep it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
The highest in us recognizes the highest in you, and we will see you again in the next video.